The better you are at negotiating, the more likely you are to get sued. Well, I want to talk a little bit about successful negotiation, ethical negotiation, and how to create wins without warring. I've negotiated over 250 transactions in real estate as a real estate investor and over 180 transactions as a business broker. So I've done a lot of negotiations and I've seen a lot of situations. This is a little bit where I'm playing around with the whole idea of the deal wizard comes from. I've seen so many deals. I've been involved in so many transactions. I like to see that everybody gets the actual win that they're looking for on their little chalkboard scoreboard that they keep inside their head. Because we all know that we've got a scoreboard and we're trying to figure out ways to take care of numero uno without losing. We want to win, especially us gentlemen out there. We thrive on competition and winning overall. More you win and the more the opposing party loses, the more likely there is going to be some kind of contention, lawsuit, or litigation. One of the ways that happens, particularly in real estate, is there are contingency fee attorneys out there who they'll take on cases for people, especially when there's large chunks of equity involved. They'll take on these cases for people for almost no money down. Instead, what they do is they bring the opposing party to their knees through litigation. And it's a war of attrition where these attorneys just sink in time and time and time. And they have all these templated lawsuits. They've got paperwork that they can just throw for interrogatories and discovery that just takes up the opposing party's time, their mental energy. It's exhausting. I've been through this before myself, and it is absolutely a nightmare situation. Those contingency fee attorneys, they get paid oftentimes 20 to 40% of whatever they win for their clients. So they are highly motivated to get to a settlement. And that's usually what happens. These lawsuits start with the idea that you're going to court of your peers. And that almost never happens. I think like 98%, some huge number of lawsuits end up in some kind of settlement. If you know what the real number is, correct me down below. Tell me in the comments what is the actual number of lawsuits that turns into settlements. One of the ways that I found over the years to make a win for the opposing party and also for me to win as well is I took a lot of training classes. I went through Landmark Education's curriculum for living. I've done a ton of negotiation classes. I even spent one weekend a month for 2 years flying to go see a communications coach where I learned neuro-linguistic programming, what they call NLP, and ways to be able to empathize with people, learning, what people's criteria, is so that I could get into and understand what their underlying motivations were when many times they don't even know what they are at a conscious level. But if I could find out what somebody's motivation was and communicate a win that would that would address that motivation, that tended to work out most beneficially in my favor and in their favor. The important part of that was to make sure that everybody feels some win. Or if there's not going to be a huge win for everybody, that everybody feels just a little sting. It can't be too much. You can't jab them in the face with a sword and expect them to be willing to come back and continue down the negotiation train at the negotiation table. Some of the most fair negotiations end up with everybody feeling really good about the transaction, or everybody feeling, this one stings just a little bit, but overall it works for us, and I have to make some compromises here and there. That's a win-win in most of life. That's just what happens. Here are some other things to think about when you win at all costs. You may have legal situations where you're getting sued about stuff. You may have a PR nightmare. People could hate all across the internet. Your reputation is worth so much money nowadays just in the exposure that people have with you online. You have to be really careful about that. And there's also considerations. Think about employees. If employees catch wind of what's going on, that often diminishes their morale. And it's something that's really important to think about because that can mess you up long terms when you've got people in your office that have low morale and just aren't with you. They're not sitting on the right seat in the bus moving to the next destination. Ethical deal making is really one of the best ways long term to mitigate risk as well. So again, ask yourself and be conscious of, what's it worth it to you in this situation? And also put yourself, literally just imagine, teleport yourself, use your wizardry skills to teleport yourself into the other person's shoes and think about what they're going through and how they want to be treated. I promise you, you can make a ton of money and they can make a ton of money in this ethical art of wizardry negotiation. The other thing you really want to think about is how can you make sure that at the end of this transaction, the person opposite of you is going to advocate for you with an incredible testimonial? How can you operate and how can you be in the professional world where you're providing not only value for yourself and advocating for yourself, but you're also able to have an advocate on the other side of the table, somebody who wants to do repeat business with you, not just get shafted this one time and then never wants to see you again. That's a big reason why I love being a business broker. I sell businesses just like realtors sell homes, and you can find many of my clients' testimonials right here on this YouTube channel over in the M&A case studies playlist. I would invite you, if you're thinking about selling your business or you're curious about the business valuation, like what your business is worth, go click over on the case studies playlist and watch unfiltered, raw opinions from my clients. We love my work. That's the level of integrity that I bring to the game and I'm constantly operating from. Click on the subscribe button, click on the bell to receive notifications, leave a comment, tell me about a situation that went crazy. I would love to hear it. Share your stories in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.